Alright everyone, in today's video, I want to talk about the current state of Borderlands 4 and also the most recent patch slash event that just came out. As you all know, I don't normally do videos like this on my channel, so I apologize in advance if it's a little rambly. It's not going to be scripted or anything, and I also like to keep things positive on the channel. You know, I'm not really a negative person when it comes to making videos. I don't really just do that for views or anything, but I do want to voice my disappointment slash underwhelmment, if that's a word, with the most recent patch that came out, the event, and even the current state slash future of the game. It is just not in a spot I thought we were going to be in with how the launch of the game actually came out. Because in all honesty, as y'all see, I'm a fan of Borderlands 4. I'm making this because I want the game to succeed. This is not me hating on the game. Like, I got the psycho mask, the claptrap, I got everything. I love the series. I've been playing it all my life. I have thousands of hours in the series in total, and I want the game just to be the best it can be. And where it's at currently, I honestly just don't even want to really log in and play the game, which is not good coming from somebody like me who spends a lot of time doing those sorts of things with this series. So first things first, right off the bat, let's talk about the brand new Halloween event that just came out. This event, it wasn't like hyped up to be anything crazy, so like I wasn't expecting a lot, but somehow it even was less than what I was expecting. So you haven't played the event or seen something about it. What you essentially do is just look for world boss spawns and kill the boss, and the boss will essentially just drop a little package that you can open up in your inventory, and then you hope you get one of the two brand new legendaries that came with the event. So basically the whole event is just based around you looking for these bosses in the game itself, instead of there being like an actual area or something in the game that you can just farm for over and over again. I've seen multiple people ask, how do you start the event? What bosses for the event? And the answer to all of them is just that that's not even a thing. There's literally not like an area you can go to or a boss you can farm. It is quite literally just looking for world events. And as of right now, the best way to do that is to either just ride around the map or sit in one little area and just wait for one to spawn. It is not fun in the slightest. I think what they were trying to go for was, if you're just kind of playing the game as you normally would, this is going to benefit a lot more for a new character than one that's level 50 and has done 90% of the game. But if you're just kind of playing the game, you'll get one to spawn, you'll get this cool event, maybe get a cool reward. I get that, but for the people that are wanting to just target farm this and just play the event, quote unquote, it's nothing there for you. Like, you just can't do that. Like, the way you play or this event or farm it is to, like I said, ride around the map or just stand in one spot. Now, maybe as I'm recording this, which I am recording it on the day of the patch, so maybe at this point, if you're watching this a little later, that somebody has found something that just constantly keeps spawning over and over again, like a respawn machine. But there does not seem to be anything like that as of recording this right now. So the event is just kind of boring. And before all of you type, it's a free event, you shouldn't, expect much, or you shouldn't be disappointed and stuff like that. The reason I am is, well, one, literally every other game does Halloween events, and they're leagues better than what this is. If you all don't know, I am a Destiny player, and they actually just released their Halloween event, and that event is literally bugged sometimes where you can't even kill the boss, you get soft lock out of it. And somehow that event is more enjoyable than what this is in the game currently for Borderlands 4, because at least you're actively doing something. There is an active event that's going on. There's a thing you can go do. Yeah, it might not work all the time, but I mean, that's what's just come to expect with that game now. But with this, it's literally just sitting around waiting. Like, it's not fun. It's really not fun. I would show gameplay of the event on the screen so you can actually see what's going on, but again, you would literally just see me riding around the map or standing still, and I don't think any of you all want to see that. Now, maybe you don't care about the event or how fun the activity is, and you only want the legendary gear. That's totally respectable. I get that. Well, the legendary gear, from what I've seen, doesn't really seem to be good at all. We do have the new Scully grenade and the Murmur assault rifle. The grenade does not seem good. I actually have the grenade myself. I've used it. It seems pretty bad. I'm not sure about the assault rifle. I haven't seen much about that. So if you have that, definitely be sure to let me know down below. But the guns don't seem that crazy, and it's also locked behind just FOMO. So this event ends on November 6th. So if you don't get them by then, you're not gonna be able to get these anymore. Now, maybe you don't want them because maybe they're kind of bad, but even if you just want them for a collection, if you like to collect everything, you have a limited amount of time to get this. So if you can't play the game until November 7th, you just can't get the stuff. And they kind of had like a whole, I feel like, sell point that is not a live service game. They did the same thing with Borderlands 3. It's not a live service game. Everybody says it's not a live service game, but then they add live service aspects like this to the game, and I just question it every single time it happens. I don't understand why. I really hope that they come out and say that these 2 legendaries are going to get added to the world or loot pool, or some boss can drop them at some point, because it would just kind of suck if you get left out on these and you can't get them, even though, again, they don't seem to be the greatest. But imagine if something was broken, like the wedding invitation for Borderlands 3 for a while, and you just couldn't get that. But overall, man, with this event, like I said, it's just, I wasn't expecting it to be crazy or anything. Like it's not like they hit it. Like, they said what was going to happen. They said it was like a world event. I was just expecting it to not be less than what I was expecting. Like, it was, like I said, like, I wasn't expecting much, but it still ended up being less than what I thought was going to happen. And I think that does come from just the amount of times the world balls spawn. I think a great way they could fix this is just increase the chances of the world ball spawns. Obviously, if they do that, it's still not like a crazy event compared to things like we have in Borderlands 3, but at least what we do have currently in the game would just be more enjoyable to do. I think most people are just going to farm the 2 legendaries and then dip. If someone's out here farming for an exact role on these legendaries with how it currently is in the game, more power to you, because that has to be the most boring thing. Like, if you want to get one of the shinies for the assault rifle, I don't even know if that's possible. That is, more power to you, like I just said, because that just does not sound fun at all. But enough of the Halloween event. Again, like I said, I'm not a negative person on the channel. I'm not saying all that to be rude about it. I just wish it was better and kind of similar to things we've had in the past, but it is what it is. But now let's move on to the patch, because this does actually have some good stuff in it. But I do want to talk about, again, kind of just how underwhelmed I was with it a little bit. Everyone was hyping this up to be this crazy game altering patch. This is going to completely change the game. And while it does offer changes to some of the stuff that we've seen, like, the Vex bleed, a lot of those crazy interactions, Groundbreaker got fixed, so you don't have these like crazy things that just make some builds just absolutely busted because of bugs. So I guess like the cleanliness, I don't even think that's like the right word, but like just of the game is like, you can just not like fear of making a build now and have a bug involved in it, I guess. So if you want to go make a bunch of builds and not feel bad because you could just use the Vex bleed build, you can go do that now, which is good. That is a good thing. They also fixed the knife, and they didn't make it just complete trash. Like, it actually still pretty good. I still think it's still going to be best in slot for all the weapon builds in the game, but they did nerf the knife, which I think all of us saw coming. So like I said, a bunch of just like crazy game breaking bugs and stuff that we kind of knew was going to come got changed, and that's good. We were all looking forward to that, and that's very, very good. However, I think what a lot of people were also looking forward to was the other stuff that was going to come along with this. I think a lot of people thought we were going to receive a lot of buffs, maybe even some nerfs to some things, so we can just drastically change up the build crafting landscape. And while we did get some, I will say we got way, way less than I thought we were going to get. I'm currently looking through the patch notes right now, and there's a lot of bug fixes, like visual fixes and stuff like that, but there are some skills that obviously did get changed. I'm pretty sure things like Blackout Amon is actually very, very good now, which is nice. But I mean, you have things like Vex, where Trouble got some buffs with the Illusion and the Apex Beast. I've tested them out. Trouble still seems like very, very bad. Like, Trouble just needs like a whole sweep of buffs and his just general form to be good. Rafa really only got things for his Apophis Lance. So there's just, it wasn't a lot. Like, I thought there was going to be like, Trouble's getting like crazy damage, and all these other class mods that we got are gonna do some crazy things. Now, while some class mods actually did get changed as well, I'm not 100% sure on how crazy these are. I have tested Vex's out, like the Avatar still seems just clunky to use, but it does have more duration, which is nice. In the Kindred Spirits game with Trouble, like the command skill cooldown rate got increased to 45% now. but it ain't no point even using the command skill when you can just run incarnate and have a bloodshot build. So like, I don't know, like I was hoping we were going to drastically change the things up, and kind of like how I described, like bloodshot Vex is probably still the best build in the game, for Vex at least, obviously. So I just don't think with this patch it changed up enough to like make me want to get in there like, oh, I really want to try to build craft around this and this and that. There were some gun buffs that actually did come through too, not a lot, just a couple, and they seem pretty good. They may be fun to test out. You can throw them onto your builds, but in most cases, in some cases you do, but in most cases you're not making a whole build around a gun. So like you kind of need a bunch of the character changes to actually, you know, take advantage and swap things around. But obviously, you know, gun buffs are always welcome too. So, and some of these actually seem pretty good, but I don't know, man. Like I said, the patch is not bad in the slightest. I'm kind of scrolling through it again. There is a good amount of buffs. Like that is a very, very good thing to see. But it's just not anything like crazy that's going to change up the best builds in the game currently. Like even Vex bleed builds, even with the knife getting nerfed, is still going to be probably one of the best builds in the game, because they didn't really touch the bleed. The bleed is still very, very strong. I know most people just thought it was only good because of the crit, interaction that it did have, but it's still very good on its own. I know a lot of people are upset about the neuron capture Harlow change, but I've also heard that it's still actually pretty good. You just kind of have to swap the weapons you use up. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, patch is good. It's just a little underwhelming. I thought there was going to be a lot more to change the landscape of the game up. I know I've said that probably 5 times now at this point, but I just want to make it clear. I don't really think it's going to change a lot. Maybe there'll be like 1 or 2 new crazy builds, you know, things like Blackout and Amon. But other than that, I don't really see what these are going to do to make me not just take off Bloodletter Vex. But I think that'll be a good segue into the next part of the video, and let's talk about Endgame. Now, the reason it's a good segue because I know somebody's going to type, oh, well, you're only using the best build in the game. You can test out all these other builds and, you know, this and that. But the problem is that there is virtually nothing in the game for me to test them out unless I just want to shoot a target dummy, of course. But I don't like target dummy gameplay, if I'm being real. Like, I would much rather have a rate boss or a takedown or something to go test these builds out. Yes, I can put a build together and shoot the target dummy and see that the number's higher. But that's just not fun interactive to me. Like the act of putting a build together is fun. Like, obviously, like kind of, you know, reading all the synergies and stuff. But when there's literally nothing to go do in the game other than shoot a target dummy, like, yes, you can go fight the vault bosses and stuff. I get that. But even then, the vault bosses aren't like crazy difficult. Like, you can put almost anything on to kill them. Yeah, it might not be like the crazy fast kills or anything, but like you can still get the job done relatively quick with just like a suboptimal build. So there's just really no reason to play the game once you've kind of gotten your character, gotten your build you want, gotten all the collectibles. Dare I say 100% the game, which, you know, might sound crazy, like, oh, you 100% the game. Yeah, of course, there's no reason to play it. But in most games like this, there's always in-game content. There's always something to do after the base game, after you've gotten all the collectibles, after you've beaten all the side missions, all that stuff. There's always like a little jump period. Now we have the end game where we can farm this and that. We can make builds. We can test all this out. You know, we have all these other challenges we can do related to whatever it might be, a takedown or a raid boss, whatever they want to put in the game. That's just not there. And with that, my just drive and motivation to play the game, now that I've got level 50 characters, I've 100% the game, got nearly every legendary of the game, it just feels like I want to play the game, but when I log in, I look at the target dummies in the sanctuary and I just want to go play something else. Now, maybe that's just a me problem, but I have seen multiple people also talk about this exact same thing. Again, if you're doing like, you know, fresh playthroughs or like manufacture runs or any just challenge runs in general, one lives, yeah, the game's still going to be fun. If maybe even just trying to do speed runs and stuff, the game's still going to be pretty fun. But if you're kind of just a one and done character, or like, you know, all the Vault Hunters you get max and done character, and you just really only focus on those specifically, again, like the only thing for you to do is just make builds that you just can't use, that you can't use them in anything. So like, it's just the motivation and drive to play the game is just not there. Now, with that being said, we are going to be getting a raid boss in December, which is nice. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's very, very good. I do think something like that should have been there at launch. I don't understand why it wasn't after the amount of games now. They say they've learned and this is the best game they made. And while I think base game wise, it honestly is, but you would think they've learned from the other stuff too to actually put something like that in the game. Like Endgame wise in the game at launch, so it gives people a reason to actually make these builds or farm this weapon to actually test this stuff out. Now, December is honestly not that far away, as time just constantly flies by now, as it seems. So, it's, dare I say, right around the corner, but the game has been out for quite a while now, and I feel like most of the player base has kind of gone. Obviously, you still have the dedicated players, and I'm sure there's still, some casual players just doing their playthroughs or people that just get the game now, which I think is totally fine. I see a lot of people look at Steam numbers and they're like, oh, like the game is dying, blah. I don't know, bro. I am so annoyed, especially coming from Destiny, people looking at like Steam charts and all this. Like, I get, like, yes, there is some things to be had, I guess, taken away from it, but like I feel like it is just the most overlooked thing and when it comes to anything like that. But maybe I'm wrong. It's just annoying to see. But I don't think the game's dying. I think the game is still obviously pretty popular. It's just the game itself, in my opinion, is just so massive base game wise. Like all the people that are still currently playing it still have so much to do. People that aren't just sitting down playing for 12 hours a day. So like the game itself is so popular because of that reason. But like once everybody gets there, and I think people are still kind of working their way to that. Once everybody gets to that end game, that's when the game's going to start falling off. And, I have friends that played the game that have gotten, 50 beat in the game and they've stopped playing. I still play, every now and then, obviously to just kind of, theory craft builds and stuff, but I would be lying saying if I played this game every day. I've seen other content creators talk about how they don't really play the game right now because there's just nothing to do once you've done all the other stuff now. Now, again, I'm not flaming them because the other stuff they did have for base game, it was incredible. It was so much fun. It was a ton of fun to play. But after that, it's just a void. Like I don't know how else to describe it. I talked about it in my early review of Borderlands 4 on how I thought this was going to be an issue. I've blatantly stated that the game was incredible, and then I was at the end. I was like, but the end game is going to be the fall off for the game because, again, we're how many ever games in now at this point. Borderlands 3 didn't really have anything. Wonderlands had Chaos Chambers, which I guess kind of was something that was just very bad. And now we're back to Borderlands 4 where it just doesn't have anything. So I don't know what is going on in that sense, because it's like they know, but it's just coming out later. And that's the worst part. Borderlands 2, we had raid bosses at launch. So I just don't know why we couldn't get something like that in this game. It's just that simple. But that, again, is just me and my drive to post content on the game or even play the game in general. It's just kind of at an all-time low. Things like today, I was really excited to see what the Halloween event was for. Turns out to be kind of disappointing. Not even kind of, very disappointing. Patch, a little disappointing to me. It's still a good patch. Like, I'm not going to flame the patch. It is a good patch. Just a little disappointing on what I was kind of hoping for. In-game, obviously, disappointing. So, like, it's just the high of Borderlands 4, like the honeymoon period, was just incredible. It was so good. And then it's just going on a down scale, like real quick. Like there needs to be something here that motivates community again. I know we're gonna have a small little expansion coming in November, which hopefully is pretty cool. Again, I'm not expecting a lot because this seems to be like a headhunter pack, like from Borderlands 2. So I'm going in not expecting a lot, and that's how I went in with the Halloween event. But the Halloween event somehow still made me disappointed, or like it somehow still underwhelmed me, even though I was going in not expecting a lot. So I'm hoping this is different. I hope I'm going in not expecting much, but it actually ends up being a lot more. And then with the raid boss, I'm hoping it's good. Dare I say it needs to be good. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for that. But again, that's until December, so we still have a little bit more time. But I think that is going to do it for this video. Again, this was not meant to be super negative. Don't be harassing, developers and stuff like that. Like, they did an incredible job, with the game that we do have currently. It's just, as the time goes on, I'm getting a little worried that we're not getting like these in-game things. I guess like build diversity is not going to be changing quite a lot. The events don't seem crazy compared to what we've had previously in other Borderlands titles. It just seems like they put a lot of effort into the start of the game, which was very good. And then I'm not sure what happened after that. So again, not meant to be super negative. I want the game to succeed. I really do. I absolutely love the game. I want to log in and play, and that's like the worst part. I really want to play the game, but every time I log in, I'm just hit with the void of despair or something. Like, it just makes me immediately just want to log off. But hopefully things will turn around. It may just have to wait until December. Maybe November, the DLC is going to be pretty nice. We'll have to wait and see. But I think December is going to be kind of like the turning point, hopefully, and then leading into the new character, leading into the new expansion, stuff like that. Let me know what you all think about it in the comments below. Are you still playing Borderlands 4? Are you going to be farming this event, getting those exact parts, going for a shiny maybe? I expect most people to say no to that. If you're still playing the base game, let me know that as well. But if you made it this far in the video, I truly appreciate it. I may have some builds coming out, you know, soon-ish with this game. Again, if I log in and have motivation to actually do it, I might post something. I have a lot of stuff planned coming up towards the end of October. I'm moving in November. We have Renegades coming in December, which I'm actually pretty excited for. I've been getting, you know, prep for that. So with the move, I am going to be getting an actual good internet connection finally. So I will hopefully be able to stream a lot more for you all. So, you know, we can stream the Borderlands stuff, the raid boss, we can stream Renegades, all that sort. So I'm going to be pretty busy. I'm not 100% sure what content's going to be looking like. I'm kind of in the point where I want to make content for Borderlands 4, and even Destiny as well. But the games are just in kind of rough states currently to where it just makes me not even want to even play the game. So I don't want to like move that into making content. I don't want the content to be boring and like just clearly it's just, I'm just making it to make content. Like I want there to actually be a reason behind making it. And it's just right now, it's just not there. Destiny stuff though, I'm thinking of maybe doing like a best build series leading into Renegades, kind of like I did with the other two expansions with Final Shape and, you know, Edge of Fate. They actually did pretty well on the channel, and I enjoy making those because there's been a lot of changes that have made some builds in the game pretty crazy now. So, but I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, there's a lot coming up on my plate. I appreciate you all being so patient, but I promise come December when I have a better connection, we're going to be streaming, we're going to be posting all this content. I'm very excited. It's just right now we're kind of in like a little lull period, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But anyway, that's going to do it all for me. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.